as we are going on to conduct the class on English as well as CDP based on your English paper. So you know that for English, from English part, you will get 30 questions, and 30 questions are compulsory, and minimum you need to crack 12 marks. 12 marks out of 30 you need to get, otherwise you will disqualify for the exam for English and as well as the language one, whatever language one you opt for. Both the papers you need to get 12 to 13 marks. So always have on to be on the positive side, always think to score at least more than 18, 17, 18, so that it doesn't whenever you are getting negative marks also, it doesn't crop up to 12 or 13. Okay, so let's start the session. Okay, again we are going on to do the MCQs, and as we know that there will be at least one comprehension and one poem. On the basis of the comprehension and the poem, your understanding of the English language or English paper is to be understood by the CTET authority. So in order to know that, we have to be very much thorough with comprehension, or we can say the unseen passages. It may be a poem, or it may be an article. So both will come for your exam, and you will get at least 10 questions, 5 plus 5 questions on the basis of comprehension and the poem section. Okay, so let us read the passage now. Though the passage is a bit longer, let us read once. And I always insist that whenever you get this kind of passages in your CBT based questions or questionnaire, you always try to read it twice, because if you read the passage twice, only then you will be able to know or understand what is the core meaning of the passage. And as a teacher, you all are well qualified, and you all know that what are the outcomes and what are the pros and cons of reading a comprehension. So on the basis of that, try to read the comprehension, and at the same time try to understand what the comprehension is actually trying to make us understand. Okay, so here, read the passage given below and answer the questions that follow from question 1 to 9. Okay, each drop represents a little bit of creation and life itself. Now see, there are three paragraphs in this passage, and questions, whenever you are getting the question, there is always the hint that from which part you need to extract the answer. Okay, so each drop represents a little bit of creation and life itself. When the monsoon brings to northern India, hope you all can see the screen is visible. When the monsoon brings to northern India the first rains of summer, the parched earth opens its pores and quenches its thirst with a hiss of ecstasy. So you can see the spellings, the words, and the importance of these words. After baking in the sun for the last few months, the land looks cracked, dusty, and tired. Now, almost overnight, new grass springs up. There is renewal everywhere, and the damp earth releases a fragrance sweeter than any devised by man. So you can see the important things which I will underline here is parched earth, hiss of ecstasy, quenches his thirst, sweeter than any devised by man. Okay, so these are some of the, and these are the adjectives. Next we have water brings joy to earth. Grass, leaf bud, blossom, insect, bird, animal, and the pounding heart of man. So pounding heart means the heart which is breathing continuously. Okay, inhaling and exhaling. Small children run out of their homes to romp naked in the rain. Buffaloes, which have spent the summer listlessly around lakes gone dry, now plunge into a heaven of muddy water. Soon the lakes and rivers will overflow with the monsoon generosity. Trekking in the Himalayan foothills, I recently walked for kilometers without encountering habitation. And the writer here, he had recently walked for kilometers. That means uncountable distance, encountering without habitation. That means no people habitated in that long region. I was just scolding myself for not having brought along a water bottle when I came across a patch of green on a rock face. I parted a certain of tender maiden hair fern and discovered a tiny spring issuing from the rock nectar from the thirsty traveler. So, this is such an exquisite passage. We can see that the importance of the passage is known, or it is gathered from the information given from the passage that it is based on rain. And what are the outcome of rain itself, that too after a long period of dry period of summer. Okay, so the third passage or third paragraph we have in the next slide. Let us move on to the next slide. I stayed there for hours watching the water descend. So, the words which I have underlined, please be sure that you too, whenever you are going for the CBT exam, you can't underline in the screen, but you can at least jot down in the rough page that you will get for the exam. Okay? Descent drop by drop into a tiny casement in the rocks. Each drop reflected creation. That same spring, I later discovered, joined other springs to form a swift, tumbling stream, which went cascading down the hill into other streams until in the plains it became a part of a river. And that river flowed into another mightier river that kilometers later emptied into ocean. So you can also understand the flow of the river, or the flow of the water from river ultimately to ocean. Okay. Be like water taught lots of philosopher. Now he is the philosopher and founder of Taoism. Soft and limpid, it finds its way through, over or under any obstacle. It does not quarrel, it simply moves on. So you can see that the passage is a rich passage, or we can say it is a passage, or we can say a comprehension full of rich words, full of higher meanings, and full of thoughts that the poet or that the writer felt as he was composing the passage. Okay, so you can also go through the passage once again. I'm giving you 1 minute here. So go through the passage once again, so that if you have any confusion related with the passage, you can at least understand yourself. Okay. Okay, now let us move to the question section. Okay, this the third passage, the third paragraph will also need a second, a minute for you all to read on. Okay, you just read, and I'm giving you 1 minute here. Yes. Okay, then let us move to the question sections. Okay, questions. Now, which one of the following uh, okay. Which one of the following word is most opposite in meaning to the word descend? Para 3 as used in the passage. So we need to find the word descend in para 3. So in para 3, that means in paragraph 3, I underline the word descend. Here descend means to flow down, the water that is flowing down from the rivers into the oceans ultimately. So here means flow. So what is the opposite? We need to find out the antonym or opposite of descend here. So let us move on. Just we have to move to and fro with the question. So descend, as we can say, the correct meaning is flow. But what is the meaning of the opposite of flow? So flow means descent. Okay. So whenever it is descent, what is the usual movement of any liquid substance, or we can say water when it flows? Always it flows downwards. Okay. So it is flowing downwards. What can be the opposite of downward movement? So it is always moving upwards, or we can say moving upper. So moving upper will be what? Ascent. Okay. So we can easily find the meaning of the word or the antonym or whatever the question is if we take the help from the passage and help from the understanding what we actually perceive from the passage. So it is very important for each and everyone to go through the passage minutely as well as attentively. But at the same time, you should remember that when you are actually reading the passages, at the same time, you should keep in your mind that time is scarce. So, time should be managed properly. And because you are getting one passage and one poem, and questions will be 10, that means 5 plus 5, so it will take some time. So prior to the actual CBT exam, you can go through the mock test that we provide here in BPS CBT channel, and in our channel we are providing paid classes from tomorrow. And if you are liking this type of classes and the material, the quality that we are providing here, do like, share, and subscribe our channel and our classes with your friends and relatives, and also make sure that do get subscribed your paid subscription if you want to know more about the strategies that you should undertake in order to qualify for your CTET upcoming CTET exam. Okay, one more thing I just want to add here is that once you are a paid subscriber in BPS channel, you will get 1 year validity. That means in this channel you will get the facilities, the services to crack your CTET exam unfortunately, if you can't crack in this first level, but there is sure and certain level that we are always sure and certain that the strategies that we are providing here to students will definitely help students to crack the minimal exam of the CTET qualifying exam. Okay, so do join us, like, share and subscribe us, because we are starting our paid classes from tomorrow onwards. Yes, okay, then let's move on to the next question. Question number 2. Which part of speech is the underlined word in the following sentence? So underlined word is what? Almost. And what is almost? Is it adjective, adverb, preposition, pronoun? So when we are getting the word which is actually helping us to qualify noun, pronoun or adjective, then we will understand that this is none else but it is adverb. Okay, an adverb of what? We have 6 types of adverbs, that is adverbs of time, adverbs of place, adverb of frequency, adverb of degree. So in this way we have 6 types of adverbs, and this adverb is adverb of frequency. Okay, so here what it is qualifying? It is qualifying or it is helping almost overnight new grass spring up. So it is helping spring. Okay, it is helping spring, the verb spring, and it is helping what it is doing? Almost. That means each and every day new sprouts or new saplings spring up once the ground is meted with, or the ground meets rain. Okay, then we have question number 3. Which part of the following sentence contains an error? He knew that he will go back on his promise. Okay, so on his promise, whenever we have this preposition used here, so he knew is okay, that is the principal clause. Then we have that he will, okay, that is the subordinate clause. That he will go back, so it is addition to the subordinate clause. And last we have on his promise, so it is, there is difficulty in the word on, so the option will be D. Okay, the option will be D, and again here there are confusing. A option has C, B has D, C has A, D has B. So please be very much careful while opting the options, because A, B, C, D may not be the options directly A, B, C, D. Okay, going back to his promise. Okay, it should be going back to his promise or by his promise. Next we have question number 4. Which of the following statements is not true? The sweltering heat comes to an end. Yes. So which one is not true? The damp earth releases a sweet fragrance. Yes. There is renewal everywhere. Yes. New grasses spring up. Yes. So which of the following statement is not true? The damp earth, there is renewal everywhere. New grasses, the sweltering heat comes to an end. So here you can see that all the 4 options are applicable. All the 4 options are true. So in this case, we need to search for the wrong option. So which of the following statement is not true? So to some extent we can say that in case of new grasses, the sweltering heat comes to an end. The damp earth releases a sweet fragrance. Okay, we will come back to this question because all the four options seems to be correct. Okay. Then we have question number 5. At times, some questions may have difficulty or confusion in the question itself. And the options may not be correct due to some technical issue. The earth does not look dash before the onset of the monsoon. The earth does not look dusty, tired, cracked, brown. Does not look, we can say, before the onset of monsoon, it did not look brown. Okay, it looked cracked. Then we have, so whenever you are getting confusion in some questions and there may be some technical issue with the options given, be very sure that you will get the marks easily in this type of questions, and in that type of question you don't need to make any issue or may be very much carried off with the question itself. Okay, so UGC will ultimately give the marks to that type of question. Children respond to the first rains of summer by running and playing in the sun, singing songs, giving shouts of joy, floating paper boats. Here in the passage, we came to know that they came out from their homes running and playing because they romped. Yes, they romped means they came out from their homes. Next, we have question number 7. The tiny spring issuing from the rock is hidden by bushes and creepers, tall grass, thick moss, maiden hair fern. So here we need to move back. The tiny spring issuing from the rock is hidden by. So let us revert back to the passage. So here I just want to add that he is a Chinese philosopher and Taoism refers to humanity with nature. Okay, so jot it down. So let's move on to the question itself. So that spring I later discovered, maybe it is in the para 2. Trekking in the Himalaya, I just found scolding. When I came across a patch of green rock face, I parted a certain tender maiden hair fern and discovered a tiny spring. Okay, so we get the question with our answer, that is maiden hair fern. We can say it is a kind of a fern that just came out or that sprang from the earth itself. Okay, so it is a maiden hair fern. Maiden means it is a first fern that came out, or we can say the saplings, the springing out of the fern itself, which was hiding or which was covering the tiny spring issuing from the back of the rock. Okay. So the correct option here will be D, maiden hair fern. So maiden is M-A-I-D-E-N. Maiden means first. Okay, let's move on to question number 8. To become part of a river, a tiny drop has to suffer a lot, merge its identity, have a lot of strength, depend on external forces. Now again, what we need to do, we need to revert back to the passage, and in the passage what it is said. So at this river, that same spring I later discovered joined other spring to form a swift tumbling stream which went to cascading down. Cascading means flowing down, okay? Flowing down from the drop to stream, then from stream to plains, and became a part of the river, and that river flowed into the mightier and emptied into an ocean. So I stayed there for hours watching water descend into a tiny casement. Each drop reflected creation. That same spring I later discovered joined. So it is a gradual process. Actually, the gradual process from drop to stream, from stream to river, and from river to ocean. Soft and limpid, it finds its way through, over, or under any obstacle. It does not quarrel, it simply moves on. So it is a gradual process, we can say. So let us move with the options. Suffer a lot, merge its identity, have a lot of strength. So the correct answer is merge its identity. So it is merging its identity from drop to stream, then to river, and ultimately to ocean. Okay, so it is merging its identity from one phase to another. Then let us move on to question number 9. Which of the following words is most similar in meaning to the word pounding as used in para 2 of the passage? Pounding heart means the breathing heart, or we can say palpitating, that means fluctuating. Okay, so palpitating means pounding, or we can also say the fluctuation of our heart's breathing process, or we can also say inhale and exhale. Okay, so here what we need to know that whenever we are reading any passage or any newspaper or article or poem, whenever you get difficult words, try to understand the meaning of the words and also try to apply these words or those words with in sentences to express your meanings, so that it helps you to understand the word, know the meaning of the word, and at the third, know the usage of the word. Okay, how to use or where to use in a particular sentence. Then we have question number 10. Let's move on a bit fast. So in question, again we already got 10 questions from the comprehension section, and now we are getting the poem. So here this is a poem, a strange, a unique poem, we can say, but we need to know the figures of speech. While whenever you get poems, try to refer back to figures of speech. Okay, that means the techniques which we use in poems, for example, simile, metaphor, personification, onomatopoeia, etc. Okay, so let us now read the poem. I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the earth's sweet flowing breast. A tree that looks at God all day and lifts her heavy arms to pray. A tree that may in summer wear a nest of robins in her hair, upon whose bosom snow has lain, who intimately lives with rain. Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree. So this is a wonderful poem where the subject, or we can say the protagonist of the poem, is actually the tree who adjusts or gets in contact with everything. So you can see that the tree is, this is a lovely poem. Who is the poet? And the poet can just make a poem like this, and he regards himself as a fool in the last stanza. And he said that only God can make a tree, because a tree is something, a tree is a thing which is hungry, and he whenever it is hungry, he used to press. Pressed is an archaic word. So pressed its mouth into the flowing breast, and breast, that means it is the earth's breast. Then a tree that looks at the God, or at God all day, and always with its leafy arms pray in front of God. Okay. Then a tree in summer wear a nest of robins in her hair, and the tree with all its branches is regarded as hair, and in the hair, or in the branches, the birds like robin, sparrow, crow, pigeon come and rest there. And then in the last part, upon whose bosom snow fall and lain, who intimately lives with rain. And in the winters, that same tree will always keep hold with the frost, or keep hold with the snow. And at the time of the monsoons, the same tree will intimately live with rain. So you can see the beautiful way, in the simplest way, how the poet has tried to describe rain along with the different phases. That means it may be some monsoon, summer, winter, and its needs for living his life. Okay, let us move with to the questions section. Okay, name the figure of speech used in line 3. Okay, line 3. A tree whose hungry mouth is pressed. So, tree is actually a tree whose hungry mouth, we can say, a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed. So we can say that a tree actually doesn't have any mouth, or we cannot say that a tree has some has some personal or human qualities. So here it is definitely trying to relate with some human behavior or human tendencies, and that is nothing else but it is the human personification. Okay. Personification is the figure of speech where we try to relate or compare a human quality with, or human attribute with, some inhuman features. Okay, so a tree doesn't have a practical mouth, or we can say a tangible mouth, but here a tree, the poet has said that he has described the tree that has a mouth. So definitely the figure of speech will be personification. Okay. Then we have question number 11. Identify and name the figure of speech used in poems are made by fools like me. So, whenever we are getting the use of word like and as, we will refer to as simile. Okay. So, it is nothing else but fools like me means it is the simile. Next, we have question number 12. The word mouth in line 3 refers to dash of the tree, trunk, root, crown or branches? It is definitely the roots, because trunk is not the mouth or through which we can a tree can get its nutrition. So it is always the roots. Okay, the roots are actually considered, or we can say practically, the root is actually getting its nutrition from the earth. Okay, and that's why that is the mouth part. Next, question number 13. The tree presses its mouth against the sweet earth's flowing breast to draw inspiration, express its love, express its gratitude, draw sustenance from it. So it is nothing else but draw sustenance, because it has to live. And for living, what he needs? He needs nutrition. That means food or nutrition. Okay, is it clear now? Next, we have question number 14. The tree prays to God by producing fruits and flowers, providing shade to travelers, swinging its branches, lifting her arms. We can say that the tree doesn't have arms, but because here the dual meaning or the higher meaning is lifting her arms, so we can say that the tree prays by lifting its arms, or we can say lifting its branches. Okay. Next, we have question number 15. Which of the following statement is not true in the context of the poem? The tree allows birds to build their nest in it. It lives closely with rain. The tree welcomes the snow on its bosom. The tree symbolizes strength and stability. So here we can say that the tree allows birds to build its nest in it is not mentioned here in the poem. So we can say that which of the following is not true in context of the poem? That nothing is said about birds. Okay, so we will refer to this. Next, we have question number 16. Okay, here answer the questions by selecting the most appropriate options. A student of class 4 is having some problem in writing. She may have. So, being a teacher, you already know about the problems or disorder when a student doesn't have the ability, or he or she is undergoing some problem to read, to write, to draw. Yes? So, whenever it is the problem of reading, so it is dyslexia. Whenever the question here is whenever the student cannot draw or write, it is dysgraphia. Okay, the correct answer is dysgraphia. And about dysphasia and dyscalculia. So for dyscalculia, we have can't calculate. And dysphasia is something where a student cannot swallow, a person cannot swallow. So it is not related with the educational or learning disorders. So it is out of these three are learning disorder. And about this is something, a medical treatment where a person cannot swallow. Okay. So this is the basic thing as a teacher you already know. So it is one of the common question, and I will give here a star because it is frequently asked in the CTET question paper. Yes. Next question number 17. It specifies the rules which govern the arrangement of words into phrases, clauses, and sentences. So whenever we are trying to arrange a particular sentence, words into a paragraph, or we are trying to arrange the entire paragraph, what we actually term it? Is it the syntax, cohesion, discourse, or semantics? So semantics is actually the study of structure of any language. So the correct answer is semantics. Okay. And about syntax, that is about rules. Cohesion means merge, or we can say collide. And discourse is something like an article. Okay, discursive. Yes. So let's move on to the next question. Question number 18. A teacher of class 6 has labeled the classroom objects such as blackboard, door, window, fan, table, chair, etc. in different languages, that is Hindi, English, Urdu, Sanskrit. Here the classroom as a whole is focusing on the three language formula, is a rich source of promoting multilingualism, is learning through grammar translation method, is creating a language confusion in students. So here we can say whenever we are referring to all the languages, and in this classroom itself we have different words, and we have words based on different languages, and we are trying to actually articulate or identify a specific thing according to the four different languages. So that is something which is it is an integration, or we can say promotion of multilingualism. So we need to adopt, actually accept the promotion of this kind of languages, because it enables us to understand or know more than one or two languages. So that is going to add to our knowledge. So that is definitely a positive approach which is taken by the school or the teachers. So grammar is not related here, language confusion is not there, is focusing on three languages is not there, because here it is four language. And so we will get the rich promotion of multilingualism, or we can say knowing or trying to incorporate within ourselves to different languages and the use of these words according to the different languages. Okay. So this is one of the important question which we need to logically think in order to find out the correct answer. Next we have question number 19. The assessment process not only assesses students' learning but also assesses teachers' process. This statement is partially right, baseless, fully wrong, fully right. So whenever we are speaking about assessment of a student, actually we are assessing the teacher also, because whatever the assessment is done, we are knowing that what the student has learned. But in the same way, we can also say that whatever the student has learned is actually taught by the teacher. So it is an assessment of a dual side or of a dual type, where the student as well as the teacher is assessed. Okay, so it is fully right. Okay, let's move on to question number 20. The language which is learned from environment without any explicit learning is third language, school language, first language, second language. So without any external factors or without any teaching, a language is taught or a language is learnt is none else but first language or mother tongue. Okay. Without any teaching, a person automatically learns, because that is the tongue or that is the language which is spoken in the home itself by the parents, by the relatives, and that way a child will automatically incorporate, or in the inbuilt, the language is inbuilt in his or her genes actually. Yes, let's move on to question number 21. A teacher is facing the problem of students' poor spelling. She listed the probable causes for it and then decided to frame some steps to overcome it. This whole process is action research, applied research, problem solving, improving spelling. So it is actually, when we are thinking or when we are searching that our student is actually facing problems in spelling, and he has listed the probable clauses for it, and for it then decided to frame some steps to overcome. So it is actually the action research. So where the research is carried out on the basis of the research, on the explanation or analysis of the problem of the student, and automatically the solution is also provided by the teacher. Yes. Next, we have question number 22. Reading picture books means to help learners to draw neat and colorful pictures. Yes. That children love pictures and it will be a fun-loving class, exposing learners to different style of drawing. And so to help learners to understand and analyze the picture, to help learners to draw neat and colorful pictures, to that children love picture. Okay, the correct answer is to help the teacher students understand and analyze the pictures. So analyzing the pictures and trying to understand what the picture is telling is actually trying to improve their imagination. Okay. So imagination is one of the important prominent factor, we can say, in case of the student, because once he will know or analyze or start analyzing the pictures, he will actually understand what the pictures are, or what can, to which limit he can imagine about the picture. So this is going to help and promote teaching and learning with the help of pictures, and which is actually included in the lower section, from that is from class 1 to 5. Okay. Next, we have question number 23. Before starting a new chapter from a textbook, a teacher should at first focus on relating the story with previous experiences of learners, the grammatical structure, no way, the background setting of story in history, etc., no, the work profile of the poet and the writer, yes, but it is going to help in the ending or conclusion. But we can just start a story by relating the story with previous experiences. Yes, previous experience is the only thing which a child remembers and recollects easily, and also learns from these kind of experiences. So speaking about any other thing before the chapter actually begins is totally useless, according to me and according to the ethics of the students. Okay. Then question number 24. Teacher asks learners to read aloud in the English class. This way of reading will enable a learner to be a fast learner. Okay, to some extent we can say it is going to improve his reading ability, help the teacher to complete the syllabus, enable learners to develop reading skill with understanding, very good, enable learners to read with correct pronunciation using the punctuation marks. So we can say this way of reading will enable the learners to develop reading skill with understanding. So within reading skill, we automatically get correct pronunciation. So the correct answer will be applied here, because reading ability as well as understanding the words is actually the main criteria of the teacher in order to make reading in the classroom, or reading aloud in the classroom, random reading we can say, or we can say serial reading also. Okay. Next, we have question number 25. A language teacher firstly asks students to introduce themselves to each other in the class. Then she asks them to introduce their friend to each other. This activity will help to increase PPP, ELT, BIX or CALP. So here in this question, I will refer to this because it is a lengthier concept where we need to understand the different perspective. Okay. Next, question number 26. Literature should be included in language classroom because it develops moral values. Yes. It exposes them to different genres, culture and social issues. It helps learners to be budding writers. Yes. It gives exposure to different grammatical forms and structure. So we can say that a language classroom is actually trying to improve the student or expose the student into different genre of culture and social structures. So literature is something which is helping them to expose or get exposure to new different cultures, genres and social issues, and ultimately what it will help them to understand grammar and then become budding writers or new writers. Okay, next question number 27. A teacher makes her learners responsible to her actions and speech only by bodily movements. What is this known as? Communicative approach, playway method, total physical response, or task-based language teaching? So we can say it is one of the communicative methods. So communicative methods, why? Because we are trying to give bodily movements, gestures, grimace, posture, etc. Okay, let's move on to question number 28. In a language class, students are memorizing the dialogues through drill and practice, and the teacher is correcting their pronunciation mistakes immediately. They are practicing the dialogues in chorus. The teacher is following the audiolingual methods, CLT method, direct method, or natural method, or we can say it is audiolingual. Okay, next we have question number 29. The oral errors of the students can be best corrected if the teacher, we can say, ignores the error as it may hamper their learning. No, we can't ignore. Ask other students to help him, as peer tutoring is must in schools. Correct an error directly after the student has made the error. Point out the error in general and let the student try to correct himself first. So we can say the other options are not very correct, and we can say directly to the student without making any public recognition or public we can say declaration, but individually we can go to the student and make him aware of the mistake that she or he made. Okay, next question number 30. As a pair activity, the teacher gives her learners almost the same picture and asks them to find the difference between the two students. Ask each other student to discover how the two pictures are different. This can be a cloze-based test, crosswords activity, grammar activity, speaking activity. So here what it is the reference? Okay. So it is the picture, and we can say speaking about the picture can be a speaking activity, okay, not a close base, because close base is something related with grammar. And the other is with calculations and the grammar activity. So it will go with the speaking activity. Okay. So with this, we come to the end of today's MCQ part, and if you are liking the session, do like, share and subscribe our channel, and also be ensure that you all get into the paid classes, paid subscription, because from tomorrow itself we are going to start our classes for the CTET aspirants who are going to qualify, and definitely and surely with the help and strategy that we are going to give to the students, the aspirants, you are going to definitely qualify for your CTET exam, whatever your levels are or whatever your demarcations are. Okay, so hope this will help you in your future endeavors and future CTET exam. So with this, we come to the end of the session. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for going through the entire session so attentively. Okay, so hope you all meet me, I meet you in the next class. Okay.